My updates have been filled with good stories this week.
Yeah, maybe they do some business this weekend.
Julio Jones earring story.
That
We've
was
talked
good.
about the cornhole.
That was bad.
We've talked about there's been a lot of stuff.
You know, what does it say, though? Honestly, it's funny you bring that up to start the show today. I mean, what does that say about society that a cornhole tournament outdrew Major League Baseball on ESPN this weekend? Seriously, like when you step back and you can't even believe you're saying that. It's just something. I don't know what's different now. I don't know if it's just people having like more things to do or more options or yes, Roberto.
It seems like a cornhole tournament on TV would something that would be an Idiocracy, the movie.
Correct.
You know?
Yes. No. And if people have seen Idiocracy, you know what Roberto's talking about. It's the truth. I mean, like I can't believe, I guess, that a nothing event would outdraw Major League Baseball.
But we've seen this before, haven't we? We've seen whether it's the spelling bee, the hot dog eating contest. ESPN's always trying to televise these wacky sporting events.
Well, they have nothing else to do, basically.
Right, this time of the year, absolutely.
I mean, the deadline is very, very quiet right now. I mean, we have nothing to go on Tiger-wise. You know, why Avila is not a priority for the Cubs, I have my own opinions. I mean, Rieger asked me the question. I gave him the answer. I think your prices are probably too high. Cubs need a catcher. Cubs need a lefty. Well, he's both. Why wouldn't he be a priority? Probably because you're not being reasonable. That would be my guess. But as we start the show today on a Friday, I wanted to switch it up and do a little Lions. I mean, just kind of get in the football mold here. We are 24 hours from the start of the season and the start of full-blown training camp. Oh, God. And there isn't a Stafford contract yet. Now, I don't think there's any reason for widespread panic yet. I don't know whether it'll get done now or later. I don't really care. It's just that they get him signed. You know, we talked a couple weeks ago when Kirk Cousins had signed his deal, to sign the tender, rather, that he wasn't going to get a long-term deal done with Washington, be franchised. And now Stafford was on the clock. And then it was radio silence. Now, this will come down to what is he willing to take? Is he willing to make precipitously less than what Kirk Cousins will get paid next offseason? He'll answer those questions with how this deal looks. The Lions are committed to getting it done. I mean, they're very publicly saying, look, whatever it takes, that's what we'll do. It's just a matter of what kind of deal does he sign. But as we start training camp, this is a team with a lot of question marks, a team that kind of walked the tightrope last year, made the playoffs, got blasted out, but they've got a lot of unknowns. And as you start it, I kind of wonder where people are at with the quarterback. I mean, if I'm a Lions fan, I would be excited to get Stafford signed because I know what the other side looks like. You could be Frisco. You could be the Jets. You could be the Browns. You could be any number of teams. You have a guy. He's not perfect, but he's better than most. And when I say that, just understand, yes, he's one of the top, dozen QBs in football. You're better than 20 other guys. So I'm not worried yet, but I would like to see it get done before the season. Now, again, they could absolutely get it done after the year. But the sooner it's done, the better, because I think the longer they wait, the more money it's going to cost. So I wanted to start with that because we've done so much baseball this week. It's kind of football has crept up on us. And training camp beginning in 24 hours, well, this is probably where we need to be. Now, look, NFL.com had a report. We can get to that a little later. I was surprised what the record is. I know Hatchett, he is very up on this. He is very excited about this topic. We'll get into that in a bit. But as we start training camp, what is your level of concern about Stafford's contract, both in the cost and in the time frame? 248-539-9797. And understand, when I say cost, it's not a debate about whether he deserves it or not. Guys, he's going to be the highest paid QB in football for a moment. The concern with the cost is like what Indianapolis is going through, where Andrew Luck makes so much money that it becomes harder to put a team around him. Andrew Luck makes about 15% of the salary cap. Some people will have a concern paying their QB that kind of money unless or if they have an Aaron Rodgers or a Tom Brady, etc. I can't be concerned with it because you don't have another option. You got to sign the guy. But as you start and training camp's ready to unfold, that Stafford contract is going to hang over this organization until they get it done. I've gone through all the permutations, the ways Stafford could extract the most money. I don't know if he's going to do any of those things. And ultimately it'll play out. But my concern will go up if they don't get this thing done during training camp. I don't want that going into the season. That's just a personal preference. 248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136. Yes, Michael.
I mean, I certainly think Stafford's deal is going to get done, but
when?
I'd say within the next week, I would think.
See, that's perfect.
It's just weird because obviously here in Detroit, we saw Sue a couple years ago, the second training camp open, say, I'm done talking about it. I'm tabling this till the end of the year. We're not going to be even discussing or talking to the Lions about an extension. And we all saw how that ended. He obviously left. So the fact that it's kind of just in the back of your mind, even though if you think Stafford's going to get his deal done, it's in the back of your mind that, hey, training camp, the season is starting tomorrow, still no contract. Is it possible that it could get tabled? Is it possible that a Sue situation could happen again? Just something to think about because it's weird. I expected it to be done by now. I thought by training camp, Stafford would definitely have a deal, especially after the other stuff with Derek Carr happened, and I just thought it would.
The question is only just basically, all right, well, look, if Derek Carr got X and Kirk Cousins is going to get Y, what does Stafford take? People can claim it's greed, whatever they want, but players, their job and their agent's job is to get them the most money possible. I think if you get Stafford at $26 million, that becomes a value. I know some people are going to be upset and go, how could you call it that? But I would say within the next 18 months, you'll have 3 or 4 guys making $30 million a year. It'll be a value. At 26, I don't think there's anything to think about. Now, if I'm Stafford, would I take 26? No, I would not. I have no reason to take the Lions' money. They're going to owe me 26.4 if they franchise me. So right off the top, you got to pay me more than 26. And if you franchise me again, you owe me 31.8. Again, this is me versus your quarterback. Maybe he's just a much nicer person than I am.
It doesn't really work like that, no.
I would never take your money. You're going to pay me $30 million a year. Why? Because Cousins is going to get it next offseason. And I refuse on principle to make less than Kirk Cousins. So until or if your offer has a 3 as the first digit of the offer, we have nothing to talk about. Oh, but we'll franchise you. Yeah, you will. And I'll take 26.4 fully guaranteed. And then you'll franchise me again for 31.8. And then you'll choke. So that would be my level of concern. But Stafford might not think that way. I don't think the NFLPA would be thrilled. I don't think his agent Tom Condon would be thrilled. But he's his own man. And at some point, it does become gluttonous. I mean, let's be real. But I can only offer you the way I would approach it as a player in a league where the minute my usefulness goes down, they cut me. They throw me in a garbage bin. So, yeah, I would just be concerned about the motivation to sign a deal that isn't truly groundbreaking.